Okay, probably I'm the last one, but the topic I brought here is not the fit for most of you guys. That's my feeling. However, here, so I'm going to talk about two things. Oops. Two things. First one is cyber-physical system. Most likely, current institution I work on how we're developing this kind of system rapidly. And the second one is mentioning how we can enable the security on it. So those two things are going to be key on my talk, and then there is something little further miscellaneous things I'm going to mention it. So cyber-physical system, I mean, it is combined of cyber and the physical system. So I'm not talking about cyber. You guys know better than me, so I'm going to talk a little bit about in the physical system. And then how not currently available, not in the, even people think about it. We going very, deep down and very low level. That level we try to implement some security protection. So cyber-physical system, we have this. We picked the smart car or autonomous car. So we don't have a luxury like a Google. So in our lab, we're using golf cart. In the classroom, we're using this small lava to exercise our student. And for the security, we don't have some educational or research kind of room for, but everyone has a smartphone. So we'll just take advantage of what smartphone can offer us. So in order to build something like a physical system, we're looking for some component. So these are the components currently available. So now, the system build is more likely not the individual component development. Instead, we're going to how to integrate together. So this is current a previous setup. We have it. So RTC is there is a actuation part. So it required real-time simulation. So RTC is the real-time simulation. So your some part of electric vehicle model actually running on this or others, and communicate with console. And some simulation model cannot meet the time restriction. We take that part outside, which is in the hardware, either using FPGA for the virtual prototyping. But many of the system we actually build it, sometimes you got the real prototype. So then we don't need to actually do all, most of them run simulation or virtual prototype, involve real prototype. Like a sensor system, there's no meaning we can simulate those kind of things. So later, smartphone, we're going to put, the involved to control, like this kind of car. So this is current setup, like a simulation, virtual prototype, and real prototype in one environment. So our simulation result, actually, hardware in the loop is, much closer than real prototype result. And this is expanded work. We have a single set we can duplicate. So the multiple people can access also, large scale of work done with this multiple station. So bring it security. Think about, security inside system, also outside system is what we communicate. So look at the communication. Chairman Masson of SoftBank, he actually talked about this early this year in one of mobile conference. So number of smartphones in the world is increased like 37% through the last 5 years. However, some analysts said it's going to be saturated and dramatically for 4%. However, this year we count about more than a billion, so 4% is not still small, but it's growing is kind of lower. However, this mobile, the traffic going to be increased for next 5 years is about 800%. I mean, that is enormous. So this is not my data. So one thing I want to point out what is said about this one is, in order to support this, booming of traffic, put the low altitude satellite, not the GPS we're using it, so multiple satellite and establish this satellite network. If we downscale, think about this, the micro mouse what students usually play with. But some situation, like if it can go either left or right. So there's no absolute solution. You just take a chance. So in that case, if we have a camera on top of maze, then one picture can take the micro mouse. Don't do anything about decision to go left and right. You just do this autonomous operation. So that way we can reduce the burden on this guy. So let's quickly look at the demand and solution bound. So there is a high data traffic is required. So in order to support this one, bandwidth is going to be up, or we can actually provide more channel capacity. That also, in order to increasing this kind of traffic, security also should be better provided. And bandwidth going up, then we have narrow time slot to run this security. And channel is more, then we have more work. So during the last time, something we need to complete, then we should be the high performance computing capability, or we can reduce the work. So do more work, either fast computer or we have a more unit, like the smartphone get the quad core and then it's octa core, something like this. So how about if we can reduce those workload somehow, and then those traffic going to be reduced and workload going to be reduced. In the hardware side, there's much less and cost going to be down. So currently, we actually send data what people want to receive it or using it. For the we are open app to download the app the app, right? So instead of the server actually provide the low data, locally we can actually produce certain amount and access less of information from the outside. So from that kind of scenario, we don't want to communicate with low data too much. So if you go a little bit, not a little bit, it's actually a very low level. If you down it, so if you have a function you compile this, your left side is assembly code list, and then it's the instruction going to be streamed by is the 1 and 0s, and CPU going to be work. So instead of those instruction level, we can communicate with the CPU. How about a function? So CPU was given as hey, you execute this function, not the one instruction after another. So what CPU has in the hardware is the micro operation. This is a fix-it. So we're not going to touch, we cannot touch, but how we can order it with some information actually come outside, then it can do. So some few instructions we can put together, or the whole loop we can finish it. If you heard about loop buffer, what the ARM introduced after the Intel guys introduced trace cache. So beauty of this one is they can shut down hold this front end from the decoder. That means it already, once the loop is decoded and identify this is a loop, and then keep it in the loop buffer. Next time you got the this one come in, you don't need, you actually switch off the front end using this one, redo this one again. So same idea. Why just the loop going to be run like this? There's a many other part of your program can work similar manner. So as we learn the languages when we grow up from very young to, so why we can teach CPU to learn kind of language. So it's short or lengthy, we can teach them. CPU is actually best what we can feature we know about CPU is this one, they do little thing very quickly. So we can, here is some way we can teach it CPU, so CPU continue to learn about what it wants without refabricating every time anything going to be changed. So that means your CPU doesn't need to change. So the very beginning of stage, we're going to put few instructions together and then build another instruction. It's called instruction packing or synthesize. So I exercised with two instruction sets, one for DSP, another for ARM. So for instance, this is the MAG instruction. All the DSP has a single instruction run. So if you're assembling this individual instruction going to be run one at a time, or some actually running on different unit. This kind of thing could become one. So as you look at the software code, there is a bunch of instruction. Group of instruction has a meaning of, like a function 1, 2, 3, 4. Then each function represented by, the condensed instruction, I name it, but it's like another instruction. So that instruction going to be decodable by the front end. We have it. So it's called microware. So we have a hardware software. We put another layer as microware. This microware actually linked to your function to this micro inside CPU. So that way, so a bunch of micro already existing in the inside CPU, we can connect this together. So expand it to the function. So you program, and there's a bunch of series of functions available, and different function using different algorithms using different function here and there. And so we just need to track down the sequence of those information. Also, they are pure data. So this is a way I synthesize those instructions about the ARM. This is the TI. And we implement this as FPGA. So this one, why I emphasize those error was somebody actually sneak it in, and some different microware, they did it and they implemented my device and running, then it's going to be most likely it caused an error. So like this kind of error, we can interrupt it and then remove it from your device. So this is a whole block diagram of language adaptive CPUs. So all this dark yellow is the new component, all white is already existed. So most likely, memory part and decoder, that part going to be brand new for the CPUs. So this way we evaluate, and this is what the compiler, our compiler, this is one part. We have 3 different compilers. Just one how we can packing the group of sequence of instruction. So left, this is the assembly code we got from ARMCC. The other side is our own. So less instruction is come to CPU. Then if the something coming down and we actually reduced many of this traffic inside CPU, it doesn't mean it's communication. However, if this kind of becomes general, then we can save time to delivering those instructions to inside. And this is kind of summary of instruction after we synthesize those instructions. We run the benchmark of MI bench. So some other result they usually run the mobile CPU is available. So we don't have currently have experience to plug in the whole CPU because backend is not available for us to do it. So I'm not including in any conclusion side. This is open end. Once we have done, then we can give the solid result in. So probably that's it. If you have any question, I can love to answer you.